Fellow citizens, we gather here today as one nation because we have a date with destiny. As you know, many dark forces have labored to prevent this election, but they have failed. Because no force on earth can stop the change that God has decreed for us. For 26 years, Malawi's wealth has been plundered, its institutions paralyzed, and its citizens impoverished by a toxic dynasty of two families. But God has given us another chance to choose change. That is destiny. For 26 years, Malawi's democracy has been hijacked by cheats.
President, congratulations are in order, but it seems you've walked right into a political storm. A lot of people in your country complaining about your cabinet. It's being called a cabinet of cronies, a cabinet of old individuals. You've got a married couple in there, a couple of siblings. You've got ex-in-laws serving, and nearly half of the cabinet is from the central region, your political stronghold. And these, of course, are things you complained about from the government of ex-President Mutharika.
I'm glad to have this chance to speak with you, Peter. When I came up with the list of names, you know, marital status was not even an issue. Religion was not even an issue. And these other issues that people are raising were never considered. We just wanted to look at merit. We are the largest party as MCP. However, we also know that we have a Tonse alliance that we had gone into agreement with, and trying to balance political as well as other issues led to that. But I have listened, and I'm listening to the concerns that have been raised. In fact, today, I had a chance to meet with the civil society groups, and we discussed all of these things, and we truly believe that with the common understanding, we can forge ahead, not to lose track of that which we intend to do.
Mr. President, does that mean that you'll be making changes to this cabinet? Because let me just quote Danwood Chirawa. He's a Malawian academic professor at the University of Cape Town in South Africa. He says, the electorate voted for change, but this new cabinet lacks novelty. It is uninspiring, if not disappointing. He actually calls it an incestuous cabinet. As a man of God, you know what that means?
I know I have an idea what he means, but he is also not looking at several factors of the youth in it, the women in it, the various groups from the north to the south that are part of that. I think what they have zeroed in on is one or two things that we are discussing with civil society groups and all Malawians. And we will face these things, and I'll be addressing the nation tomorrow. And I will pretty much tackle everything, because I said I'll be a listening president as a servant. I want to do exactly that.
Now, let's just move away from that a bit now. We've got a lot of ground to cover. On the day of your inauguration a few days ago, you gave a rather rousing speech that impressed a lot of people, both within Malawi and outside Malawi. You called for an end to nepotism, you called for an end to corruption, an end to the dependency on foreign aid. If I can take a direct quote from that inauguration speech, you said, before we can begin to rebuild, we must clear the rubble of corruption, for it has left our taxes in ruins. Let's start with that point, corruption. Will you be going after the past government of Peter Mutharika, and does this include Mr. Mutharika himself?
I'll tell you what, Peter. What I intend to do is strengthen governing institutions or governance institutions. I personally will not be going after anybody at all, but I want to make sure that those who broke the law must face the law, but we must do it in a manner in which no witch-hunting is done, except to the extent that people must understand we want to be a people that respect the law. Some of the values that I have been espousing, in fact, across the whole country, touch on rule of law. And so we do not want to victimize anybody at all, but we do want to make sure that we follow up on all of the things that have happened in order that Malawians must have confidence that together we can build, but we cannot build on rubble.
Well, you cannot build on rubble and you want to fight corruption, but I mean, your new cabinet raised eyebrows. I mean, one of your strongest allies now is the former President Joyce Banda. In 2014, you asked for her to be probed. Now, her son holds a senior position in your government. Do you see where a lot of people say, well, this is not the same man who talked about fighting corruption?
No, they must do the necessary thing, and probing has to continue to happen. You must delink individuals from those that are responsible. And this is one of the things that we must understand, that in as much as we have corporate responsibility, individuals must also be held responsible and cannot be judged by proxy.
But do you understand the fact, why a lot of people are now skeptical, are now saying, well, you seem to be going back on the promises that you made pre and post elections with the actions that you've carried out in the last couple of days?
I do seem to understand, and that's why we have entered into discussion, because we need to understand each other, and we need to understand the political fluidity that Malawi right now has, in order for us as Tonse Alliance, following a Tonse philosophy, so that we can deliver. And delivering has to have certain benchmarks, and people that can deliver must be measured on that scale, whether they've been able to do it or they haven't been able to do it.
Now, the economy is another area where you need to get a grip on, and you've attributed the country's donor dependency to laziness and asked Malawians to have the courage to face and endure the coming pain if they want to enjoy the wholeness of a nation. How do you plan to achieve this?
Some of the values that I espouse, regard hard work, a work ethic that will mean that nobody just sits there expecting that they will receive something or somebody owes them something.
I mean, it must be said that Malawi...
Good morning, Africa. Good morning, the world. Wherever you are in the world, thank you very much for your patronage, for watching Punchline Africa Television, the only Pan-African station that talks about Africa, what ails Africa, what kills Africa. Why are we all the time behind all the lines that we want set, guidelines we say? What is it killing us? What bewitched us? What led us to a situation where we promise one thing today and do the other one this morning? This show, Matsanga Africa Perspective, wants to bring to you a very great debate this morning. Conflicts in Africa have occurred in Cameroon, Biafra, Somalia, Central African Republic, Libya, Ethiopia, Malawi is here. Is Malawi the melting pot of Africa? Has George Soros found a home in Africa? I have been on this subject for a long time. Many people think that I'm a madman when I talk about George Soros. Many people think that when I go back to retrace the history of Africa, they think I have not studied it. Many people think that from the time when I said 16 African countries, sub-Saharan countries, will be under either regime change violently or they will be removed, but then there will be chaos, or there will be a war. I predicted that 3 years ago on this same show. If that clip, my production had done enough groundwork, research, they should have brought such clips when I said 16 countries in sub-Saharan Africa by the end of 2020, 2021, some of them would have changed the face. I am now vindicated by the actions of some of the African leaders. Some of them are behaving as though this is now the time and never is their time. We have seen that happen in several countries. We have seen that happen in Cameroon. The war has eaten most of the Cameroonians. Biafra, no referendum can be given. Libya, torn to pieces. Somalia, no end to war and it is beginning again. The Prime Minister of Somalia, I predicted it to you, that the Prime Minister of Somalia and the President of Somalia will never be together. You have seen the headlines coming out now. The Prime Minister wants elections. The President doesn't want elections. Who's driving the age? I told you, George Soros. You have seen how Kenya had to labor to convince the world that it is only Kenya that is capable of delivering Africa through the Quagmire state of security in the Indian Ocean and in the Great Lakes region. Nobody took heed. We came divided on the table of the United Nations Security Council. As we Africans, we never listen to each other. We instead condemn each other. We came ye close to African unity, yet too far from it. We are separated by ideas of French and English speaking. We have delivered our African union to the altar of circumcision by the French imperialists. We have diagonized wrongly the values of African unity. We talk of it every day, every morning. When other countries like Amazonia, there is peace, no peace. blood is flowing. When other countries like Central African Republic, there is blood flowing. Libya, there is blood flowing. Mogadishu, there's blood flowing. Mozambique, blood is starting to flow. Democratic Republic of Congo, the sick child of Africa, is becoming sick. South Sudan, a shaken peace process. My panel will look at all this. How great is Africa? How great is democracy in Africa? How great are elections in Africa? Do we need elections in Africa? Do we need elections in Africa? If we have a man who has studied PhD to the highest level, becomes a president, and no sooner had he taken over the seat than he revoked, that's very good English, no, than he revoked everything that was there before. Is this the Africa that we should want? Is this the country that we wanted? Is this the Malawi that the Malawans voted for? Are we cursed? Are we bewitched? Who bewitched us? The international agencies bewitched us. We like to get their money. We like to tell them what problems we have. Yet we have more solutions than what they have. We want to tell America how badly we are governed. Yet they are not well governed by Trump's theory. As we speak this morning, Trump has suspended all visas for students. Is that the America we should look at? Is that the America we should sing about? Oh ye, oh ye, oh ye Africa, oh ye Africa. This morning, MATSANGA Africa Perspective wants to look at the Africa. And I want to call upon students of international relations, those who are at home reading diplomacy, reading politics in Africa. This is your free lesson every Friday. MATSANGA Africa Perspective will bring a free lesson, 2 lessons, one on diplomatic leaks and another one on MATSANGA Africa Perspective. I want to educate the people voluntarily. Don't pay me, take your notes, take a pen and a notebook. If you are not convinced, write to your teacher. Tell him that somebody called Dr. MATSANGA said, is this correct? I want to introduce my panel this morning. I've given a background of how Africa, how we have been tormented. We thought Malawi would be an example. But then no sooner had the guy taken power than he revoked the immunity of his predecessor. No sooner had he taken the swearing in ceremony than he ordered the arrest of all service officers. No sooner had he taken power and on power, he appointed his wives, concubines, ladies, everything. Everybody who was a friend was appointed. Is this the Africa we want, my panel? You appoint a wife of another man who's your friend. We are looking for removing cronyism, nepotism, clanism, and to some extent, party. Why do you appoint a man from your party and they leave another one from the other party when he's capable to do the better job? Are we appointing people on merit? Is George Soros finding a place of solace on the continent? My panel, Miriam Ogut, good morning.
Yes, very good morning to you. Just a few minutes there to noon here in Nairobi. Thank you so much.
My other panelist, Professor Jared Onyari, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr. MATSANGA and Miriam and Wesonga.
Daniel, Professor Jared Onyari is a chaplain, a professor of conflict resolution, a political activist, also a preacher of the word of God. So even if you insult him 200 times, he might not insult you back, but he will only preach at you and preach for you, not at you, but for you, to heal. Thank you very much. Welcome to the show, Professor. Let me go to Wesonga is our investigative journalist. Daniel is a Shakespearean man. I like his quotes at times. Miriam is our senior anchor, researcher, and news breaker. So she has very good news at the end of the tale of Africa. Welcome to the show, and across to Mombasa at the coast, we still have Madame Karen Joseph, a teacher by profession, an academic, teaching people in the university and teaching others to understand. She likes women's rights. She supports what the people of Kenya should be. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Thank you for welcoming to the show, Dr. MATSANGA, and thanks Miriam for being around, and Professor Jared and the other correspondents.
George, the other one is called Daniel Wesonga.
Yes, Daniel Wesonga.
Thank you very much. Let's kick start. I'll handle it. Miriam, bring facts only. Let me handle it. Lazarus Chakwera joins hands with the other party members in opposition to form a coalition to remove President Mutharika. In their formation of removing President Mutharika, Malawi got a new president under the party of Malawi Congress Party. Malawi Congress Party was the party of Kamuzi Banda. Kamuzi Banda, Dr. Hastings Kamuzi Banda, was the first president of Malawi, who was trounced in an election and removed during multi-party elections in 1994 by Muluzi, Dr. Muluzi. Dr. Muluzi, the late, I think he passed on, became the first man to tackle a single party system in Malawi. The Malawi Congress Party went into oblivion, like a KANU, like a UPC, like a TANU, like a ZANU-PF, which remained like MPLA, like any other party in East Africa. Uganda People's Congress of Dr. Milton Obote died a death. We remain with only a few shadows in the cabinet, in the parliament, but it died a death when Obote died. Kamuzi Banda's party, Malawi Congress Party, died, went to the grave, but it remained with a skeleton. Little known to us that sometime in 2020, one person from the Malawi Congress Party would wake up and grab power in Malawi. Elected by 3 million votes, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera formed a government with ministers almost linked to each other, or where they studied, how they married, how they work, who are friends, who are relatives, who are those from Malawi Congress Party who have worked so hard, instead formed a union of cronies. Yesterday, the Malawans went on social media and declared a total war against their newly elected president. It is this that we want to discuss. The Miriam will give us facts. Now, if you bring in the facts of these ministers, you have that background,
All right, thank you there for that introduction, Dr. MATSANGA. And I don't know if where that is coming from, the echo, but Malawians have voiced anger after newly appointed President Lazarus Chakwera unveiled a cabinet that they said was tainted by family ties. And Chakwera, 65, comfortably beat Peter Mutharika with 58.5% of the votes in last month's election, marking the first time in African history that an election rerun led to the defeat of an incumbent.
One of you, the panel, on the panel, you have your radio, your telephone, also broadcasting.
Please kindly reduce the volume. Please, thank you. I think they've done that. So now the new, on Wednesday night, the new president announced a 31-member cabinet that included 6 figures who are related to each other, although not to the president. The new labor and health ministers are brother and sister, while the incoming information minister is the sister-in-law of the new deputy agriculture minister. Chakwera's former running mate in the 2019 elections, Siddiq Mia, will serve as the transport minister, while his wife will be the deputy minister for the land. So we've seen a lot of blood relations there for that 31-member cabinet that President Peter Mutharika has, announced. And Doctor, just to before the rest of you come in, fears of fresh unrest as Malawi youths plan to protest. And so Malawians are bracing for fresh unrest after the main activist under the banner of Youth for Change unveils plans for a series of demonstrations with opposition Democratic Progressive Party and notorious youth cadets set to join in looting and violence. And Youth for Change has announced plans for nationwide protest on July 13th against President Lazarus Chakwera's appointment of a 31-member cabinet, which is being branded as a tokenism to his picks. So we've seen it is already bringing a lot of problems there in Malawi. So that is just a small background on what is happening with the President Lazarus Chakwera and his new cabinet appointments.
Thank you very much, Miriam. That is exactly what I wanted on this show now. Let me now go to pick the brains of Professor Onyan. Are we bewitched, Professor?
Yeah, Dr. MATSANGA, this is a good topic. You know very well I'm a Pan-African. I love Africa. I have a passion for Africa. I need Africa to progress. I need Africa to go forward. I want Africa to rise. But when I see what is happening in Malawi, the question which I pose, which Paul was posing to the Galatians, who bewitched Africa? After having posed that question, who bewitched Africa? Why can't we do things in the right way? The people of Malawi came together and they said we can change the regime and we want to do things in a proper way. But remember, George Soros, you know his ideology. He stands for regime change around the world. You have sung this and every now and again. So people like George Soros, once they have changed the regime, they don't want stability. Because in stability, they will not achieve what they want to get from Africa. They want resources of Africa. They want our minerals. So in the nutshell, for heaven's sake, President Chakwera, why should you put your wife as deputy minister? Are you not contented with the role of the first lady? Do you know the much of the work which is in the office of the First Lady? So honestly, Africa, we are bewitched. My work here is I'm looking for the day when our founding fathers of Africa, the likes of Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, Kennedy Kaunda, Jomo Kenyatta, they were focused and they wanted to know where they want to take Africa. And you know, the independence of Africa, you know, we must go back, was given reluctant. Hello? When it was given reluctant, what it meant that so long as Africa is divided between the Anglophone and Francophone, go this one to the bank and withdraw money, Africa will not have peace. All the French-speaking countries, their heads, their hearts are in Paris. So in the Nasser, Chakwera started on a wrong note. He could have not gone for revenge. It was the time to reconcile and make the country move forward. I rest my case there.
Thank you very much. The same question. Are we bewitched? Are we bewitched? What is our problem? We seem to have the same doors every time. Across the bridge, Miriam's favorite nation. It's the same doors. Up in the northwestern corner, Miriam's favorite nation again, the same doors. That's South Sudan. Somebody brought in baby, you know, brought in and across our place. For us in Uganda, we respect Madam, the First Lady. You know why I don't even want people to criticize? She did a great job in Karamoja. A great job. The Karamoja you see today is because of Mrs. Janet Museveni. Because everybody was eating money, was fleecing the government, was eating money. Everybody was hammering money in Karamoja. But when Museveni took the wife to work in Karamoja as a minister for Karamoja pacification, today, hallelujah, Karamoja produces tomatoes, onions, cabbage, wheat, rice, delivers that to us. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. So that one of Uganda, many of you might start saying, what about Kampala? No, people are contented because this woman delivered. She never took a penny. She never. If you go to Karamoja, the hospitals in Karamoja today are better than the hospitals in other parts of the country. New wards. That's why you see, have you seen Corona hitting? Where is Corona in Turkana? Where is it? Where is it? In Turkana, people have gone, you know where they go? They go across to get treatment from the hospitals in Karamoja, in Moroto, in Abilaktuk, in the Kwam. All these places along there, centers, dispensaries are flourishing. So, were we bewitched, Daniel?
Yes, Dr. Matsanga, I think this has been some kind of terminal disease in our African body, and no one put it much better than Ernesto Che Guevara, who was one of the revolutionaries and comrade to Fidel Castro. And he said, if I could quote, that cruel leaders are replaced only to have new leaders who turn to be more cruel. And I think what Chakwera did was a betrayal of trust of the people of Malawi, because the people of Malawi anticipated that they're going to have some kind of emancipation from the bad leadership, the previous bad leadership from Peter Mutharika, only to land into the hands of Chakwera, who has shown some kinds of extreme cronyism, dishing out positions to his friends, their relatives, and all that. And it only paints the new regime in a very, very bad picture. And of course, you have mentioned there the influence of the foreign players like George Soros. These are people who are not interested in the leadership of African countries, but rather they are there for their own selfish interests. So me thinks that the people of Malawi lost out on this, and perhaps Chakwera was a turncoat who only masqueraded behind religion to ascend to power. And now that he has captured the seat of the throne, he's now showing his true colors. And of course, yesterday, going through your timeline, I saw the Malawians are beginning to wake up, and they are opposed to the cabinet, and they have called fellow Malawians to come out. That is the right step. That is the right position they should take. They should not be cajoled or be intimidated by this new regime. They have to bargain for what is truly theirs, and make sure that the journey that they began by getting Tariq out of power ends quite well by them getting very good leadership.
Thank you very much. Mombasa, Karen Joseph, you have watched the events on TV all the way from wherever you are. Your comment, brief comment on Malawi.
Well, using Malawi as an example in Africa, I think we Africans need to avoid clashes, and we shouldn't give these things a chance, because a mistake like what has happened in Malawi can actually blow up and be a big thing. So we should avoid, as much as working on uniting each other, I mean, in Africa being united, we should avoid small things that would actually blow up and cause war. And another thing, we should stop behaving like animals. You know, animals have no shame. They can do anything anywhere. Just some things we should learn to hide. You know, why do you wake up one morning and have your family members in the parliament or cabinet? So that's right. We should learn to hide something.
Yes.
Thank you.
Miriam, we thank you very much, the panel. I just want to pose a question again. Miriam, she says we should not behave like animals that have no shame, because you are walking the cow to the drinking water place, and it starts, doing its removing. It doesn't wait until you say this is your steady crowd. Do it there. No. So she says we behave like animals.
Yes.
We are animals. Biologically, we are animals. But I think we behave like a wild animals and a tamed animals. Because even a dog, people have not asked me why I don't raise dogs. I have a scar of a dog that beat me. In 1967, my uncle's dog, 69. My uncle's dog in Entebbe, Uganda, had gone for a holiday, and I used to give this dog bones, very nice bones. You know, the meat that you cook it, and you see in the saucepan, a good meat that you could also think you could grab something. One day, Miriam, I took this dog, the food, lunchtime. I said, because they told me, take it out, it can run around. My dear, after taking the bones, this thing just sprung on me. Maybe it said I delayed by a few minutes. It was angry. So do we behave like that? We eat what we had promised yesterday. We throw it out of the window. Chakwera promised Malawians a new Malawi. He has brought us disaster. And I want to tell you, come back to you, Miriam. Why I said Malawi has become a home of new George Soros. Look at the people who are behind Malawi's campaign. Who are they? George Soros who is Strive Masiwa. You saw him there at the swearing ceremony, welcoming everybody, telling everybody, hallelujah, hallelujah. You know, this question of using, have you seen the way Strive Masiwa uses the Bible? Every day, he quotes on his Facebook. Strive Masiwa quotes the Bible. And since I have a chaplain here, I want him to debunk this theory that Bible holders are always a pain to the community.
Yes, and Dr. Matsanga, maybe I'll just, I know Professor Onyari is a chaplain, but one thing, even in ancient China, that the emperor before the 19th century resisted was the spread of the Western religion into China. Because one thing, the missionaries were using this as a way of getting the Chinese people into some kind of religious dogma as they stole away the resources. So if you get a leader who misuses a religion and uses the Bible to their own benefit to send people into some kind of religious dogma, then that is quite very wrong. I have no any issue with religion, but the problem comes when we have people, some group of people who use religion to hoodwink people and for their own selfish interest. And I think Chakwera turns out to be such kind of an individual. Malawians trusted him and believed in his agenda, only for him a few days after seizing power to come out very different from what they expected.
What is the future of Malawi, Miriam?
Before we get to the future of Malawi, I think wrong is wrong, whether it's done in Uganda. I personally think the First Lady there of Uganda would have been active in trying to bring peace in that part of Uganda without necessarily being a minister. So I still disagree with the fact that she's the Minister of Education in that country and the President as a First Lady. So that is still wrong to me. Also in South Sudan, we saw the wife of Riek Machar as the Minister of Defense, still wrong. And now it is happening in Malawi. So to me, wrong, I don't care where and who, wrong is wrong is wrong. And there's not two ways about it from my own perspective. And also you brought the issue of, President Chakwera now stripping off immunity to former President Peter Mutharika. Of course, when you leave office as a president, there are some privileges that you used to enjoy as a president that you cannot continue enjoying once you're an ex-president. And that is a fact. And on that, I hinge the issue of accountability. If you were the president, if things happen under you and there are questionable things that perhaps brought a lot of loss of even public monies and things like that, then they should be held accountable. So I'm still for accountability. And that is just a separate issue with what now President Lazarus Chakwera is doing himself. So this is just outrightly wrong, and we've seen there even a poster that ran there, Dr. while you were talking. So he's set to address Malawians, I think, today, because even Malawians who loved him and elected him are not very happy with that dubious list there of the 31 cabinet ministers that he elected. A husband as a minister, and then a wife as assistant minister in another ministry, a brother as a minister in one ministry, and then a sister as a minister in one ministry. And we talked about this, I talked about this yesterday during Diaspora Dispatches. When they have these cabinet meetings, it will be like a family reunion or something, and you cannot run a country as if you're running a private enterprise. That is just plain wrong, and he will be addressing the country today, so I'm just hoping that he will change that decision that he made, which is not sitting very well, even with Malawians themselves.
We have one Malawian who is called Dr. Eric Makwapatira. I think is telling us a lie. He says that Chakwera
he does not have. His own wife is not in the cabinet, but he has somebody as a minister, and then the wife to that somebody is an assistant minister in another ministry. So himself, his relatives are not.
Abida is who?
Abida is married to is married to another man, not the assistant. I think the former. Let me just look at that. Not his wife at all. His wife and his family, personal relatives, are not in that cabinet. But there is where he's put a minister. Let me just, because we need to get that very clear. Siddiq Mia will serve as the transport minister, while his wife will be the deputy minister for land. So those are just another couple over there. And then he has a brother and sister also serving in different, positions, and also somebody and their cousin in different positions. But his personal family members and his wife, they're not in that cabinet. So that is true.
Okay, fine. Whether they are not in the cabinet or not,
it's still wrong. Yes.
It's still wrong.
Yes.
To extend all your people you started with in Makerere University, Dar es Salaam University, Edinburgh University, and you pile them in, is not very good. So for me, the main thing that I want to address here is George Soros. Is Malawi a country or not? Is it? I'm asking this for knowledge purpose. Because even on this other side of Mutarika, you find NGO politics. Joyce Banda, you find NGO politics. Muluzi, you find NGO politics. Mutharika, the late, he was one of the big NGO defenders in Africa. Is Malawi a country? Gerard.
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. You have to trace back to 1979 and understand the philosophy, the focus, the strategy of George Soros. And Malawi is a small, tiny country in Africa, and it's a small, when you look at its population, they are supposed to do things in the right way.
Are they both? Both hit the point. Are they both? Has George Soros bought Malawi? Let me bring it higher. Maybe the answer is as yes and yes and yes, because if he was elected by the people of Malawi, he should be doing. He's doing these things with a lot of. And there's one point now I want to bring home. That accountability. Let me. We should assure the African leaders that once they get out of office, they will go and retire. Otherwise, if you show them that you will follow them immediately after they get out of power, they will not leave our power. They will rig the election. They will put their people. So Chakwera has started on a wrong note. We are seeing George Soros at work. And as you have rightly brought it, the 3 presidents of Malawi have come out of the NGO one. So George Soros has executed his philosophy of regime change in Africa, which is not well and does not well with the people of Africa. You don't bring your brothers, your relatives in government. Otherwise, I wonder whether we will survive the 5 years. Let me just not be a prophet of doom, but I wonder whether we will survive 5 years. Watch this space. We watch this space, and go ahead. Now I'm brutal. And I want to say it here on this MATSANGA Africa perspective. There is no president in Malawi who has not been a worker of NGO. Dr. Hastings Banda brought NGOs from Scotland, Presbyterian Church. It came to work, it developed Malawi. Malawi was a safe haven of imperial litmus toxins. Sorry, toxins, not litmus. Imperial toxins, which rejected that there was apartheid in South Africa. The most controversial nature of Malawi is the founding father saying there were no South Africans dying. For the younger generation watching this show, I want to bring to your attention that Malawi started a bad way of leadership in Africa by saying apartheid was not a problem. It was we Africans who were a problem. Some people will say, yes, he was right, because every African leader who ascends to power drinks the same drugs, except in Kenya, except in Tanzania, the rest of Africa. Even when they have killed people, like South Sudan, 284,000 people perished in South Sudan. Yea, the world is watching, and the world went to make peace for political positions, and they forgot the accountability of the people of South Sudan. I cry here that that peace process will not hold. I tell you that in South Sudan, there are more people who died than anywhere, massively. Marauding armies went and killed without mercy. From Dr. Hastings Banda, it came to Muluzi, NGO product. Every NGO president in South Malawi ends in jail or commits suicide. I don't know whether you have trust. Look at those things. Things become too complicated. Unaanguka before they sentence you. Muluzi died without standing trial. Banda Joyce, who was in Kileleshwa, who had a house, stole money, over $70 million of NGO. Mutharika, whom she replaced, had a case with NGO money. The current president, the current former president, there is a case going on with again NGO money. Mr. Chikwera is NGO product. Whenever you see strife, you must see you see Chikwera. And when you see Chikwera, and when strife, you must see what comes to your country, starts doing business with you, you know you are finished. And it's going to happen in Kenya here. I want to warn you people in Kenya, you look at my face and understand me. Those who want to hear me. You are being put before Kofi Annan Foundation, the DSGE, which is the external wing of the French intelligence system. Can I tell you and shock my viewers and the panel that while George Soros has no bank in the United States, but he has got the biggest bank in Paris. Why? Why? While there is a warrant of arrest in Russia by Interpol, George Soros flies to Paris. George Soros lends money to the French bankrupt government. Lends money to Masiyiwa, Strife. Lends money to Bonyongwe and others, groups, NGOs that have formed themselves. There is no Malawian whom you meet on a plane at Jomo Kenyatta Airport. When the plane comes from the wrong way to land in JKA to connect at night. You are going to London Heathrow or Schiphol Airport. Miriam, you will be shocked. He keeps on, if he's seated near you, he's telling you how he's going to see the other NGO in London. And that's the plain truth. So the entire Malawi has grown on NGO syndrome. I am happy that now the NGO has turned to it itself. That both who said Mutharika should go are NGO, and those who voted Mr. Chakwera are NGO. Sasa, kwangu the panel, I am saying, waja chiumane. Let it eat each other. Then we get the best government. You know what is going to come out? God knows how to operate these things. As much as you cheat people from George Soros, there is a time when God refuses. Have you seen how God has refused now? The group, and I told you yesterday, Miriam, 2.5 million votes. Again, it's 3.2. The difference is 700,000 votes. This man has also authority in the country. Why didn't Mr. Chakwera shake hands, forget the past? If he had done that symbol, today, even if he appointed a dog, his dog, because he likes dogs, his dog would be in the ministry without any problem. But because he started by eliminating, wanting to arrest a former president, blocking the woman of Commission of Elections from going home, the world has turned on him. And you see when the BBC starts, the woman she was blocking is a British national. I want now to tell you the story. If you have not studied international relations, shut your eyes. The people knocking, they have heard George Soros is there. The group knocking Mutar Chakwera will come from Britain. Take it to the bank, Miriam, the panel, Daniel, and Karen. Take it to the bank and bank it. It is Britain that is going to make Malawi learn the best way of democracy.
I'm with you on that.
Believe me or not, the people going to come to the streets are not going to relent until one army general or one officer comes out, said we have had enough.
And Doctor, you brought up the name of the former Electoral Commission of Malawi, Madam Jane Ansah. It is a good thing that they blocked her from escaping the country, because you cannot be very careless and irresponsible, plunge a country into a near chaos, because a lot of lives would have been lost if at all refrain was not, practiced last year. And so it was a very sensitive situation there in Malawi. So if Jane Ansah, the former Electoral Commission, would have done her job and conducted a proper election, Malawi would not been where it is today. So it is a good thing that she was. Because you can't mess a country that because you have another citizenship, you decide you'll run away and leave this place in fire. No, we should discourage such things. Yeah, she should be held responsible. So it's a good thing that she not escape.
You finish. Let me tell you, whom would you hold responsible? Her.
Jane Ansah, she was the electoral commissioner when those fraudulent elections happened.
Who commits the highest crime of international law? Answer me. Do you arrest Kebaki, or you arrest Odinga, or you arrest Ruto or Uhuru?
When the case was going on in the court, the Electoral Commission was found to be responsible. Partly it was to blame. So she should stay there and face the law.
Yes.
Yes.
She should stay there and face the law. No escaping.
Is he the final? Is he the final?
She was the Electoral Commission.
Is he the final mafia boss In international law, Miriam, listen.
The back stop at the
With
former
her
president
as-
Mutharika.
It is Mutharika. Now, when we come to pick the rest we take to Tobiko or Haji.
Let her go to DCI of Malawi. I support
Now
that.
you are-
No escaping.
Crime.
Doctor,
For me-
these Africans with double passports, they think they can just mess up their country and then run away. That is no way. That is no way to yes.
He is not African. The husband is African. Now you see that? So you should blame the one who married her.
She was given a very important responsibility and she failed the people of Malawi.
Now
So she should be held
the
accountable.
husband married a woman from Britain. That's it. And maybe the husband benefited from her passport. So let's not go. It is true, I understand. You cannot mess a country and disappear like a combe. Why don't you come back home here? Bring it on. Akombe stole our money from Dubai airport and they went to United States. That one. Kanatembea namna hivi. Kamekula pesa zetu. No. The whole allowance. You are right. I think at times I support you on this. You can't steal everything, disappear. None of us have stolen anything and disappeared. We got rescued instead. Those who have other nationalities, like Kenyans who have nationalities, you can't condemn them. They went in 1992 when Moi wanted to finish everybody. How many Luos are in London? How many from Siaya? Because of Raila Odinga.
Dual nationality is okay, doctor. My point was, you cannot because
I'm
you have
not-
another country you can run to. You cannot just start a fire, leave a
And
country
run
on chaos.
away.
Yeah,
I
the same
agree.
way Akombe also did. She should be here.
I agree.
Yes,
But
that
now,
was my point.
Miriam,
But I have no
now,
problem with dual nationality. I have no problem with that.
Chikwera to start by victimizing everybody instead of putting a commission of inquiry. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not saying it should not act on those who committed crimes, who brought a bad election, stolen, swearing Mutharika at night. That was very bad. That was very bad. And Miriam, what you are talking about is going to happen. You know already Mr. Chakwera and the group are in the ICC saying Mutharika killed the people, saying Mutharika murdered so many people. They have accused, there is a case, a pending case on ICC filed by Malawans. And you know ICC is also funded by George Soros. So what you are talking today, you are right. Maybe this woman feared that she will find herself into that caliphate that organized the stealing of votes. And that is, even if it were you, would you stay and face the music?
But Chebukati has
You
stayed.
don't know where you will be taken.
Chebukati is facing the music.
No, but
I agree with you on that.
And we
She
want
should
him to-
have left.
Yes.
Yes, Westonga.
yes, I think from my perspective, Chakwera is losing both the plan and the plot. And as a head of state, he ought not to be opening so many battlefronts. In one design, he's fighting the former president, Mr. Peter Mutharika, and his cronies. And on the other, now he's fighting the people of Malawi, because if he's appointing people in the cabinet on a very nepotistic design, then the people of Malawi will not be happy with him. So as Professor Gerard Onyari said, that his days are numbered, and we really doubt if he'll be able to complete his 5-year term under these circumstances. So if he's a very shrewd politician of very high intuition, then he needs to start putting things back on track and really reconsidering the position that he is taking. He needs to work with people of Malawi. Even if he received money to campaign from George Soros and Strive Masiwa, he needs to now focus on service delivery without any bias. He needs to unite the country. He needs to focus on what's best for Malawians.
Yes, Mombasa. Before the professor comes in.
Yes, before Professor comes in, the future of Malawi, I also don't want to be a prophet of doom, but it's so uncertain right now because I think there's so much happening at the same time. There's so much happening. And if the president wants to be all well with him, he should be working on gaining their confidence once again. Right now, he should be working on gaining the confidence of the people of Malawi. Otherwise, I think he has spoiled it. It's very early for him to do that. Not just right.
Thank you, Professor.
Dr. Masanga, those who don't learn from history, they are condemned to make the same mistakes which others did in the past. And if you are running in a marathon, what you do, you look forward, you don't keep on looking behind. You may not know where you are going. My recommendation, and I hope President Chakwera is listening to me or his Andros are listening to me, let him just bring Malawians together. Someone with 2.5 million supporters and you 3.2, you cannot ignore this person. The future of Africa has been demonstrated by the Prime Minister Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta, President Uhuru Kenyatta, that you can shake hands and you take your country forward. I've every time and again appealed to African leaders. There is nobody who is going to build the continent of Africa, our countries, apart from ourselves. So the route to reconciliation, the route to bringing the people of Malawi together, following the constitution and doing the right things, not to bring your wives, your concubines, your brothers and sisters, that they are the ones who are going to make you safe. I said I would assess President Chakwera after 100 days. Very less than 15 days, he has already messed up. So those of us who are very progressive about Africa, and we are telling the people of Malawi, nobody will repeat your country. The nonsense about the cases you are taking to Hague will not solve your problems. Come together, shake hands with Mutharika, say you have done your part, let us also do our bit. That is how we will be able to build progressive Africa. But otherwise, if you continue taking money from the donors, the likes of George Soros, there is nothing which is given for free market. Manna went with Moses, and since then we have never had manna coming from heaven. So the people of Malawi, they have to work for their country, they have to work together, and Chakwera, the man of the cloth. Dr. Masanga, you said those people who carry the Bible, you should be very careful when you carry the Bible. The colonists came carrying the Bible. They told us to close our eyes. When we opened our eyes, what did we find? All our land had gone. So the fact that the man of the Kora, Chakwera, has become the president, the people of Malawi should be very careful and be very cautious. He might not be very genuine. Let me just rest my case there.
Yes. And I
First
think
of all, before you come in, I have said it, Miriam. I am summarized by saying the country that is going to determine the issues in Malawi is Great Britain. Mrs. Anza has just been cleared to leave, to go to Britain. You can see the instructions where they came from. And that is why I'm telling you, Mama, I agree with you. But I want to tell you, there is one doctrine in these superpowers that you should always watch. America, Israel, Britain have the same behavior towards their nationals. The same. And an Israeli will never leave a toddler anywhere. Never. If you kill a toddler of Israel anywhere, and you are actually killing him or her is good. When it is bad, but when it's gone, it's better than you kidnapping her and keeping her in your house, and then you tell Israel, I have her, but I want 200 million. Mama, they will trace that line where you called it from. They will come, either kill all of you, or kill even the baby, or rescue the baby, then wipe all of you. As we speak now, news that I've just breaking news from Malawi is from Nyasa Times, which is the official paper. The Department of Immigration in Muchingi border post between Malawi and Zambia has cleared Mrs. Jane Anza to leave Malawi via Zambia for United Kingdom. This move comes after the British High Commissioner and the other people called Mr. Chakwera direct and told him if there is any case, the British will return. You know, the good thing with them, if there is any case, Mama, again, they put you on a plane, very comfortable, to go. Unless you are in a banana republic, like a Panama, where people are being shot, like a South Sudan, they will not take you back there. But if it is Kenya, utaletwa, you answer. If it is any place, South Africa, utaenda. I remember they had a couple from London who went to marry from Cape Town. I think you saw that story, Miriam. Married very nice Indian couple. Then he had arranged to kill the woman. The wife, they had married. He arranged people to kill the wife so that she takes over. He takes over the cash. You know, Indians pay. The rich father pay. I wish this turned into Africa, where dowry is paid by the family of the. I would have gone for. Let's smile a bit, Miriam. If this thing turned in Africa, that the father of the wife of your wife pays for you to marry the daughter.
We will sign an agreement, Dr. Matsanga. Not like yes, my father will pay for the dowry, fine, but we would have signed an agreement. Like anything happens, you know, not like we have it all.
He takes back the money.
It's called a prenup. You sign a prenup.
Or he just, take back my money. Yes, as simple as that.
Yeah.
Because people will take advantage of that. I'm telling you the truth. They'll take advantage of the father will pay, and after that, I just kill her.
Well.
You cannot work like that. We go to court, we get a lawyer, we sign some agreement here. If anything happens, those who are lawyers, I love their law.
Oh my God. I'm lucky I did this much earlier. So
no, you're lucky you're an African doctor, so you don't have to.
I and the professor Miriam,
Yes.
we are not in that category.
Yes.
Our dowries have been paid either way already. So this one is hot soup. But coming back to the topic in
Doctor,
summary.
Can you imagine me paying your dowry? How does that even make sense?
You see, I knew
it does not even.
With the price.
It's an African.
You're the price of the lady. He should be.
No. Am I not handsome for you to pay?
It's an African period.
No, are you not handsome? Let me tell you that Wesonga, you come in this debate because you're the one on the firing line. Are you not handsome for people to pay? A man, you have a baby boy is equally looked after like a baby girl. They take milk. They are equally looked after.
Yes, and especially when at this moment when you are talking about equal rights.
Yes.
Besonga,
equality, parity.
Not in that.
They are discussing culture, and the culture is a way of life. Our culture, we have not been doing it, so we cannot be able to the culture of other people.
Yeah.
No, I like. You know why people like Bazungu girls? She comes and says, "You are handsome." Yeah.
Masanga.
I have watched. She comes. The Mzungu girl can come on your door if you have seen your son. I swear I used to run battles with my son, with Ephraim and Paddy. I've run battles. These girls don't leave my door. And I said, what is wrong with you now? We are, how are you, sir? And then you know the way the Mzungu greets you. You find her, she has dressed up, well dressed on your door. Analeta na gari ya baba yake, iko nje kwa kapa. Unaingia kwa, you go yourself outside in your compound, a car which is a very powerful car outside. Then you see the two occupants. Say, who is this? Oh, we are waiting for Ephraim. We are taking him out. I looked at her, I said, taking who? Where? They said, yes. Dad, we like Ephraim. I said, what? This is serious for me. Because by now, it brings you more trouble. As an African, you are talking about the culture. It brings you more trouble. It brought me a lot of trouble. That's why the film today I told you people, don't ever spoil your countries.
And one of our viewers here, Doctor, is saying, Davis Daire is saying, I'm Malawian watching from South Africa, and I also agree from that the new government has made a mistake to allow Jane Ansah to leave the country at this stage. That woman deserves to be in jail. That is a Malawian.
Thank you very much. But to tell Davis, as much as I agree with Miriam on crimes committed by people, it is the Malawian who married Dr. Ansah. Yeah, alipata karatasi zake, papers. Yeah. So she's free to go. If there is any crime, she will answer. International warrant will answer this.
Absolutely.
But the truth is this. Why do we go to international warrant? Why didn't he stay to clear her name? She should have stayed to say what I did it. I was under stress. But knowing what British she is, she has avoided that confrontation. But when he reaches London, she's going to release in a book. You know, she's going to write a very nice book that will earn her more money about this election.
That has been the norm.
Yes, because she has avoided telling people the true story. She doesn't want to be interrogated how Mudarika forced her to announce these elections. She's running away from the truth. Yeah. she's running away from the truth. You have a point, Miriam. But as I told you, it's the British Empire that has seen George Soros crop on Malawi. My sister, they have taken charge now. Let me tell you the truth. They have now taken charge. And you will see, Malawi could end in a very terrible situation if Mutharika and Chakwera don't shake hands for the sake of this small, tiny state to have peace. We might have a very big shocker for ourselves. That is, I want to give each of you, I don't know whether Miriam has something else. I want to give each of you, Dr. Onyari is gone. I want to start with Mombasa to clear up the backlog. Summarize today. And probably singers, tell us which song we should remember you for.
Okay, thank you so much.
It's a good Friday. It's a Friday. We need a sense of humor. Tunataka ile wimbo kutoka the coast, mama.
Bango. Ito bango. Mwambie bango.
Tunataka bango.
Bango.
Yes. Bango.
Pia to ask some humor on that whole bango issue. Bango is not really. So if you come over and get a partner, you just don't come here and move around on your own. So yeah.
Unasikia hiyo Miriam tu. Mr. Wesonga.
Yes.
Anaomba invite. Na watu wawili.
Yes.
Is that what you have said? That bango, Miriam, why didn't you teach me some of these things? Because I am now making mistakes. I don't know what the bango means. It means what? What wawili? Is it so? Unasema bango is chased by who? Two people.
Yeah, people, two persons.
Not one.
Not one.
So it is an abomination.
No, it's nice music. It's just like salsa or that kind of music.
Miriam, you are saying?
I'm saying bango is just like the way salsa, you'll require a partner to dance and to enjoy the music, but bango, you can just sit down and listen. You don't have to get a dancing partner.
Then what
just
is
beautiful
it?
coastal music.
What's the meaning of the word dance?
Bango is just good coastal music.
The meaning of the word dance is D-A-N-C-E. Look at the Greek meaning. The philosopher is here. There must be four legs doing the shaking. Like two. It is not one. Unacheza moja nani hata display. Hiyo display. Lakini kama mnacheza wawili muko patana kwa bango. Let's bring it up for you. Thank you very much. Mombasa, your parting shot. Na hiyo wimbo ya bango. Kila siku mpaka siku ya mwisho. Akina baya kuduniani kama shida.
Hiyo si bango. Hiyo si bango.
We are hungry. We are about to go for lunch.
Yes.
Our lunch tonight is special.
All right, let's just Mombasa do a parting shot here.
Parting shot.
Okay, I would like to end it this way. We Africans need to get united and avoid problems like what we have in Malawi. Like I said before, it could blow up, and it doesn't give a good picture. So we don't have to prove to the whole world that we're always sort of mistakes. Let's take a good impression once in a while. And as for Malawi, the president should be working on gaining, his people's confidence. It's not too late. He can come up with something and create a good picture than what has just happened. So that's all I have to say.
Yes, so you go by the song of Mbaraka Mshe. Hakuna kitu kibaya kuduniani kama shida.
Kabisa. Sure.
Kila siku shida shida, mpaka siku ya mwisho. Asante sana Karen Joseph from Mombasa, the coast, Malindi, Lamu, Kwale, Kilifi. Asante sana. Mungu akubariki. Tutaonana Monday. Sure. Thank you. Professor.
Yes, these are my parting thoughts, and I am speaking as a chaplain. I am speaking as a certified professional mediator. I am speaking as peace and conflict expert. I am not on trial, but I want to say facts the way they are, that don't go the way of revenge the people of Malawi. I listen to the people of South Africa saying that, yes, sometimes justice must be tempered with mercy if you want your country to move on. But if you want to go the way that the things were done in the past, 5 years is a shorter time that you may end up doing nothing for the promises you gave the people. So I'm looking forward that we should be the people who can forgive and reconcile through the handshake, the way it happened in Kenya, identify the problems facing your country, and address it together. I'm looking for Africa free of corruption. I'm looking for Africa which is free of nepotism and tribalism. I'm looking for Africa which embraces rule of law and good governance. I'm looking for Africa where people can practice democracy. We can go for competition, let the winner wins, and we shake hands and we proceed. I'm looking for Africa where we respect human life, human rights, and dignity. And the solutions to the problems facing the continent of Africa or another continent of Africa will not come from outside the continent of Africa. Africa, the way Dr. MATSANGA says, we have got our own ways of solving conflicts and ensuring that Africa moves forward. This idea that we have to go to UK or you go to Paris, that's where solution for Africa has to come from. We are cheating ourselves. And as I've said, as we are carrying the Bible, someone comes to you with a Bible, telling you to close the eyes. Yes, close the eye, but let one be open to see what this kind of man may be doing. He may come in with the Bible, but not on chain, only to blind you and to close your eyes. So long live Africa, long live Africa, so that we can continue talking the problem and coming out with solutions for Africa to move forward. Thank you.
Asante. Boss Daniel. Short. Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you. I will thank you later on in my summary. Mzee Champlain.
Yes, thank you, Dr. MATSANGA. And of course, Professor Jared Onyani is as conflict resolution expert. He has really wrapped it up quite well. And I agree with his sentiment. Malawi needs to come together. They need to forge a common future. Through President Chakwera, Malawians had seen the light at the end of the horizon, and they believe that they're going to have a very brilliant future. But of course, right now, as it seems things are turning out to be bleak, he's being entangled in fights that he ought not to be entangled in as a president. For now, whatever he's expected to do is to propagate the agenda of building up Malawi, bringing unity, and of course, bringing unifying with all the political nemesis that he had on the run-up to this year's election, and he seems not to do that. So my parting shot will be of the similar design as Professor Gerard Onyani. Of course, he has done it quite well, and Malawians need to unite. Chakwera has a second chance to redeem himself. He can change the cabinet, he can reconstitute it, and award positions based on merit.
Madam Medium.
All right, thank you, Doc. There, I remember this alliance that brought President Lazarus Chakwera to power. They named it Tonze, and Tonze, in a language there in Malawi, means together. So Lazarus Chakwera and his alliance, wanted, to bring Malawians together in this alliance that they've done. But when you look at even that cabinet, 70% of the people he has chosen, outside, of course, of the relations that they have, come from his own stronghold. And so this is seen as though he's not created an all-inclusive, cabinet and appointments. And people are hoping, even in his own speech when he was, after he was, he won the elections, he said his main goal will be to bring Malawians together. And it seems to be negating in this promise. And so Malawians are very disappointed. They've shown their disappointment through social media, and we've seen even a protest is being, planned to protest some of these things and his appointments and every other things that he's been doing since he became president. So he's expected to address the nation, I think, today. So I'm just hoping that he shall do the right thing and address some of these legitimate concerns that are being raised by Malawians.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Karen from Mombasa, Miriam from Nairobi, Daniel from Nairobi, Professor from Nairobi, and the viewers who have just, by the way, Malawans have just woken up. They hadn't seen this show. So there, you can see on, we are having very many of them. One of them is telling someone that, another Malawian, that maybe this guy who's talking is not from Malawi. He's telling Mr. Paritiwe that you are not talking from Malawi, because he said the things that our show is showing is correct. Things are not going very well in Malawi. Okay, this is my parting shot. Summary from all of you. I want to thank all of you for having done one thing. From Mombasa up to Nairobi, Malawi, Johannesburg, wherever you are, Nampula, you have said one thing. You remember in our discussion for the whole 1 year, 1 hour and 25 minutes so far, we have been hitting on one thing called unity. Unity. All of you have been emphasizing it. We condemned the judge, we condemned the Electoral Commission chair, but we came back and said unity. We said accountability, unity. So my summary is this. The best model for Malawi at the moment is to reconcile and unite, forgive each other of the past that have happened. If we go to open up the wounds of what have actually, let it be a party, my takeaway. Let me begin, Miriam, if you give me time. My takeaway. Production. We have been on this show for 1 hour and 25 minutes. All of us agree, from Professor Onyali, Madame Miriam Ogutu, Daniel Besonga, and Karen Joseph, that the only way Malawi can come out of the politics it has been through is unity. Unity of purpose. The new president should unite all Malawians, bring them on board, forget the past, do accountability, which is very, very important, which brings in the points that we have captured here, where Miriam, as a presenter, said, accountability, the former chairperson should be accountable for some of the crimes that were committed under her watch. It is therefore very important, as we summarize this show, to urge, to encourage President Dr. Razarias Chakwera that you have been in Kenya for some time. You know how Kenyans went through some of these difficulties. Embrace the role of a united Malawi. Forgive, shake hands with your opponent, the one you defeated with 3.2 million votes. Let him feel that all the people of Malawi are on board. Take accountability at the root. Don't take retributive justice. Take justice, restorative root of justice that can bring Malawi back to the days of Dr. Hastings, Dr. Kamuzi Banda, when Malawi income in Blantyre was the heaven of African people for honeymoon. I just want to ask you, on behalf of this show, on behalf of Punchline, to take one step forward to reconcile with your former president. Don't take immunity, don't be harsh, don't create gaps of insecurity before you take off. Let the car have engine oil, be hot before you become the driver. Thank you very much. God bless you. That's my takeaway. Thank you.
All right. And thank you, Doctor, for that amazing show. That has been MATSANGA Africa Perspective. We shall see you here next week. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye. See you on Sunday.